Is it just me, or is it a universal experience playing TTRPGs that the first time your players kill some really awesome creature like a dragon, the players always seem interested in harvesting the creature to try to gain power? Maybe you went with the flow and figured out something interesting, or maybe you panicked like me, glanced down at the rulebook, back up at your players and said, no. But what if there was a game that not only encouraged such behavior, but also based their central mechanics around it? I'm Salty Duchess, and today I'd like to answer the question, what is exciting about the Wilderfeast tabletop role-playing game? In the one land, the maxim, you are what you eat, will become quite literal for your player characters. The core conceit of the setting is this: the ecology of the one land isn't feeling so hot because of disagreeable industrialization. Can't relate. And this is driving some of the fauna mad with a disease known as the frenzy. The frenzy is basically super rabies, and players will take on the role of characters who possess a unique skill set to slow the spread of the frenzy, known as wilders. Part human, part monster, fully accepted by neither, they have the skills to take down these sick monsters and the know-how to cook and consume them safely. Not only does this help prevent the spread of the frenzy, it's also how player characters get stronger and gain new powers. It didn't really click with me how fantastic this mechanic was until I fought a monster that was a bit like a scorpion that shot fire out of its tail, and at the end of the hunt I realized, holy shit, I get to do that now. I get to shoot fire out of my tail. This is a TTRPG that has been manifested by someone with a serious food obsession in the best way possible. Even beyond gaining your abilities by making a meal out of defeated monsters, the different tools you can choose for your character are all cooking implements, the specialties are food related, even your backstory and aspirations are food centric. It is not a coincidence that I found out about this game shortly after I finished watching Delicious in Dungeon. Though the lore and setting of the world has more of a Pacific Islander fantasy vibe rather than European fantasy, which has been a refreshing change of pace. The game is dripping with flavor in every sense of the phrase, and it does not lack in style. The art direction is both beautiful and plentiful, and the layout is great. One little detail I love about the layout is that certain words associated with a game mechanic are put in bold and appropriately colored text. It makes it so easy to know if a given word is being used in a generic sense or if it has mechanical implications. Something I tend to complain about with other books is a lack of mechanic summary sheets, and this book has us covered. The core test resolution mechanic summary sheet in particular is striking. It's a good thing the reference sheets are as good as they are though, because especially when you're first starting, there can be a lot of info you want access to if you're running a game. You'll probably want references to core resolution mechanics, traveling mechanics, the map of the area the characters are in, and a reference to the specific zone the characters are in. It can be a lot, and you'll probably want to copy some of this down on a separate sheet, print off some copies, or if you're extra fancy, get a hold of the official reference decks. The game has style, but does not lack substance. It has a medium-lowish complexity in that there are quite a few traits and conditions that can add complexity, but the core test resolution mechanic is easy to grasp and fun to interact with. The going wild option is the perfect seasoning on the core system. Essentially, you describe how one of your monstrous traits, like the aforementioned fire-shooting tail, can be utilized to your advantage, and then you go wild by decreasing your odds of success, but in return, you vastly increase the impact your role could make if you still succeed. Go wild and fail too often though, and there are consequences. Again, on paper, I kind of thought, that's neat, but in practice, this mechanic blew me away. The risk-reward factor is off the scales, and the fact that it's available on almost any roll opens up straightforward and exciting risk-reward opportunities with every roll of the dice. Another secret ingredient to this book, in my opinion, is actually the introductory adventures. There's 5 parts, with each part being only about 3 pages, and that's including, as always, some generous and beautiful art. Each little adventure provides a setup for how to get the players involved, a high-level overview of the trail, a few specialty events that could be triggered at locations likely to be involved with the hunt, details on how the hunt itself will go down, and the aftermath. It doesn't sound like much, but I actually think the subtlety is the brilliancy. I feel like plenty of systems out there preach prep situations, not plots, but then their modules or free adventures come out, and you can tell the writer used the wrong recipe. This book doesn't just say prep situations over plots, it shows you. You don't have to spend hours prepping to run a fun game. Pick a monster, set up a plot hook to get started, come up with a handful of fun special events, figure out what the reward might be, and then let the dice and the travel mechanics cook. This game satisfies an innate hunger that was personally amplified greatly by Delicious in Dungeon, has engaging dice rolls, and implements layout and design decisions that trump many of the bigger names in the hobby. And that is what is exciting about the Wilderfeast tabletop role-playing game. Thanks for your time. Bye.